Oh my goodness. Wow. I feel like crying. I mean, I don't know if I can sing right now because I'm so emotional.
Okay. Well, you can sing later.
Okay.
So is it something you want to share, or are you too emotional to share?
Oh, I can always talk. Yeah, it's well, even just the last song. Once again, I'm saying, wow, that was recorded in Adelaide, South Australia in 1981. And that was long before before Adapt was even started. I mean, and I joined Adapt in 1987. And the only time I've ever been to Denver was before the demonstration in San Francisco. And so I went to Denver and I got to connect up with Adapt there, and then went to the big to do in San Francisco, and that was I sang at that, and then we were off to the races, and whoa! And I met a woman named Patty Deek. I was living in Atlanta. I met a woman named Patty Deek from New Haven, Connecticut. We fell in love, and that's how and why I moved to Connecticut here. I mean, it's like I'm time traveling all over the place watching that and seeing so many people that some are still with us and some have transitioned but are still with us in spirit. And it's just really, really powerful. And I think it's very essential that more and more people find out about what happened. See, this part of the civil rights movement has never been recognized to the extent and to the degree that it's important. And right now, we need to merge with the Poor People's Campaign and get all the different connections together, and the Women's March people. And anyway, in some places it's happening. It's just excellent. This is I'm so thankful that this is out there, and other people are asking, how do we get a copy of it? So how do we get a copy of it?
We're working on it.
Yeah.
Soon, we hope, right?
Mm-hmm.
Watch Teddy'sTees.com. We'll sell them on Teddy'sTees.com. So does anybody else want to make a comment? You want to just jump in, or you want to raise your hand, or well, actually, you can't raise your hand, or put yourself in chat.
I just wanted to say that part of the comment, Elaine, is also about purchasing your song or getting your song.
Yeah, well, I need to get that more organized, I guess. If I will put my email address, because I'm the only one that has copies of anything right now. Put my email address. I'm trying to get somebody that has more technology skill than I do to help me with this, but I'm putting my email address in. And see, I actually have 2 CDs. Oops. Can't talk and type at the same time. Let me shut up and type.
The statement that really hit me as I was watching, among all of the things that were there and all the people that were there, was about living an ordinary life.
Yes.
That really got me, because I think
Oh,
we're all trying
yeah,
to do that.
yeah. The 10th anniversary here. this, we prepared this for the 10th anniversary here in Connecticut. And it has on the back, to boldly go where everyone else has gone before. And
I
I
like
think that puts it in a nutshell, right? To boldly go where everyone else has gone before. People make such assumptions about what life is all about, and they don't realize that we're left out of what they assume is just the regular way. And we're still left out after 30 years. We're still left out of so many things in so many ways. People stare at us and we're still invisible. It's our time though. We have, as people with disabilities, low income people, people that are struggling, we are the ones who are resilient because that's the only way we survive. And we have to adapt. We have to, because otherwise we don't make it. We have to figure out new ways to do things, and we do it.
So Peter, have you got anything you want to insider how you made it? Any comments?
Yeah. Well, if people have questions, I'm happy to answer anything that anyone has a question about regarding the movie. We worked on the capturing footage for over 5 years and collecting archival material. So this is just part one of a 3-part project that we're hoping to finish in the near future. But if anyone has questions, I'm happy to respond to them.
This is sort of an odd question, but because I'm putting a lot of resources together at the moment, it caught my eye that the copyright was 2018. So I was just wondering where it's been. Or
well, before the pandemic, we were doing a lot of scheduling with activist groups and academic groups, and you know, people are purchasing it individually as a streaming video on Vimeo or on DVD. We haven't done any theater distribution, but it's getting a lot of travel in groups that are specializing in this subject, more or less. It's not getting a lot of general attention, so to speak, I guess.
right? Yeah, that makes sense.
But, yeah, and we have some great footage that I can't wait to get out there with Elaine. You know, while we were filming, she was at almost every national action that we filmed, and it was always a pleasure to see her go up to the front of the big meetings, as they call it, and rouse the crowds. And oftentimes she would do it when everyone was exhausted after 18-hour days of marching in the streets and, you know, getting arrested. Washington, D.C., with temperatures in the 90s sometimes, you know, I have to hand it to ADAPT. When they get out there, they were 110% into the commitment. And sometimes we would be going to maybe even 3 action sites in one day in DC. And I was blown away every time we would go to the actions.
Anybody else want to jump in with a question? Jump right in. Don't hesitate. Elaine, you ready?
Oh.
You're muted. I can't hear you.
She said she can't unmute herself. Elaine, you have to click on your picture to unmute yourself. Oh.
see. See if I can unmute you. Not having any luck here.
Could you do it all unmute? I think other people are talking too. That would be great if everybody were unmuted.
Let's see, unmute all. Yeah, I have unmuted all, but it doesn't seem to be unmuting people.
No.
I think you might be able to do it now.
Yay! If I
Great.
said I could, and I did, so there. Well, this is the thing. One of my most controversial songs from the old days. I'll see if I can get through this one. I'll tell you the story. I was traveling around in Australia as the famous Fulbright scholar from the United States. And back then I had recovered from my spinal cord injury enough so that I could walk with difficulty with a brace on my right leg, and I used a forearm crutch. So that was my situation. For any distance, I had to use a manual chair. But so I was traveling around Australia, and one of the things in Australia was Australia, as it was in Great Britain also, they had some of the old language of things, and so they had what was still called the Spastic Society in Australia. And the Spastic Society had a special fundraiser that was like a combination of the Jerry Lewis Telethon and the American, my mind is blanking. Miss America contest. There, I can remember things. Everybody, once you get older, you do get senior moments. It does happen. Sometimes it happens when you're younger. Anyway, so combination of the Miss America contest and the Jerry Lewis Telethon called the Miss Australian Quest. So they would have local contests and state contests and national contests, the Miss Australian Quest, complete with bathing beauty, ball gown women, non-disabled women, to raise money for the Spastic Society. Well, the emerging disability rights people in Australia realized this was horribly insulting. So they managed to get up on stage with the bathing beauties with signs that saying, this is offensive to people with disabilities and things like that. And so anyway, so that kind of inspired me. And I wrote this song, and it's called Sideshow. Well, isn't it a pity how some folks just ain't pretty? Now some are simply born that way and nothing can be done. It makes you feel uncomfortable to see them on the street. They're happier with their own kind, yet some of them are sweet. So step right up, put your money down. See Louis the Limbless Wonder in the sideshow. It's very educational, so bring the children too. It's really quite amazing just to see what they can do. Put them in a special home, it isn't safe to let them roam. Oh, well, they sadly aren't responsible, they can't care for themselves. It's a shame we have to lock them up, they really aren't too bright. The good ones will behave themselves. And the bad ones always fight. So come right in, take the tour around. Here's Ron and Rosie retard in the workshop. Oh, Wait, I blew my own song. So come right in, take the tour around. See, carry the crippled spastic in our playroom. Be sure to bring your checkbook. It really is worthwhile. It's guaranteed to warm your heart just to see them smile. And they're cute when they're kittens. Now, some of us are full of hopes. Someday they'll stuff envelopes or weave a pretty basket or simply tie their shoes. We know they'll never wander far, but one thing's very clear. We'll pick them up if they escape. Ha! And we'll bring them right back here. So come right in, take a look around. See Ron and Rosie retard in the workshop. They do the same thing every day. They're happy here, you see. It's kind to help the hopeless. We're sure that you agree. And once a year, we'll come around, house to house and town to town. Oh, you have to be quite heartless not to pity these poor kids. Because some of them are living to be 60 or 70 or 80 now. The stars around the telethon, they cry on cue each year. Your pledge can put us over the top. So wipe away that tear. Please call us up. Pledge your money now. And you can watch us on the TV in your home. Remember us at tax time. Remember what we do. We need your dough to help our kids, but the telethon's for you. When you get home, you'll need a place to stay. Just like Sadie, the senile spinster off her rocker. We know she'll never venture far, but she'll be leaving soon. The place is very clean and nice. And we're saving you a room.
All right.
Thank you, Elaine. Anyone care to make any comments about the movie? About
Sarah
Elaine?
has her hand raised.
I-
Oh, Michael.
Hi, my name's Michael. I'm in New York, and I'm with Disabled in Action and Downstate New York's ADAPT. I have two kind of questions. First is a technical question. I see this is being recorded. Would it be okay if we share this recording with our members of our organization so they can see the movie?
It's mostly that your conversation's being recorded. The film itself is available for purchase on Vimeo.
Okay, so we'll look at how to purchase it then and tell people how to buy it. My second is just really a comment.
Michael, before you ask your second question,
Yeah.
If you're an ADAPT chapter, we can arrange for you to show the film without charge. That's
Okay,
part
well,
of our mission.
all right, we'll figure that out. And I also, it's kind of a comment, is like watching this makes me realize, my disability is recent, and I think I feel bad. I lost all my chances to get arrested. I mean,
Plus, your ADAPT is still working.
yeah, but things have changed. I mean, now police aren't so gentle. I mean, I've been seeing the arrests. I don't want that to happen now. 2-3 months ago, it was different.
I'm sure Elaine can tell you lots of stories. I've seen some very ungentle arrests myself. So it's not all choreographed.
Oh,
But,
okay. 'Cause I'm
yeah.
more ready now, but I don't want to get hurt if I don't have to. I mean,
Yeah.
that's not the part I
Yeah.
want.
Well, one of the things about ADAPT is, they're extremely well organized in their actions. It's, people liken it to a military action in the way that it rolls out. And there's planning on where, people go and split off to take doors and things like that. But generally, I've seen someone have their arm broken in an arrest in Indianapolis recently, just a couple of years ago.
Oh, wow.
But generally, yes, it's pretty now the police, there's this, probably Elaine could talk more about it too, is that the police really don't know what to do with people with disabilities.
Well,
And they still don't.
last year at the Disability Pride Parade in New York, the police department was there. They had a table, and they were showing off their accessible paddy wagon. How they had a van with a ramp and brackets if they wanted to arrest people in wheelchairs.
Oh, wow.
They're very nice about
Well-
it. They're like, oh yeah, we can arrest anybody, and we know how to do it. We've been trained.
Equal train.
Well, it's just not the paddy wagon alone. It's also police training. And as Susan probably knows, in Detroit, Baba Baxter is a Detroit activist. And he just recently, unfortunately, I think he lost his lawsuit, but he was thrown into a paddy wagon. He's in a wheelchair, a black activist who recently started reviving Detroit and ADAPT chapters there. And it permanently gave him further disabilities.
Oh wow.
But yeah, and that might have been the intersectionality of him being a black person and a person with disabilities, the way he was treated.
And the other issue with Baba is also that he's a very large man. And what they put him in was too small of a vehicle when he was sitting in his chair. So he couldn't actually sit upright in his chair. He was bent over in his chair while he was being restrained.
Yeah.
Kathy Collins, you had a question?
Yes. I was
Ahmed?
thinking, I was just, while I was watching this, there was a show on TV, and it was called something about In Common, and it was on Channel 7 about, the ADA and that, and there was the usual stuff, and there was a gentleman that was hosting it, and I was thinking, he's not disabled. And every other group, when they have, something about them, they would never think of hosting a show with about Asian people or black people or any other group without the host also being in that group. While here's a show and the host was not disabled. And I think that's another front. I mean, I saw the thing about McDonald's and I thought that was really interesting. That was the first time we had a national campaign that included people with disabilities. But now it's time, I think we need to demand more, like so many other groups are demanding now, that we be represented in as the writers, as the producers, as the hosts of the show. And I think that's our next push, one of our campaigns, because there you're going to get people then employed too. And we need to demand our employment, in all these different fields. So I'm just thinking, what are we thinking about that and what are we going to do about that? And I was actually thinking of even writing to them and getting a copy of their transcript and all their sponsors and that, and writing to them and saying, why would you do this without thinking about this?
That's a good point.
Tiara, you had a question too? Related?
Muted.
In Chicago, we do have on our cable TV, we have a production that's run and produced by people with disabilities on CAN TV, and it's been going on for at least 10, 15, maybe 15 years.
So what I need to do is go to the cable channel and try to start a show on there, or find out if there is a show on there on our cable network, Manhattan Cable, I think it's called.
Yeah, most cable stations, you know, they have a mandate to give access to community groups.
But what about,
That's a good.
that's fine, but what about the mainstream media? I mean, that's where we need to hit.
Yeah,
where
that's
the money-
absolutely true.
To those of you who can't unmute, I'm not sure why. I'm trying to do what I can on my end, but
Because are we doing something to, I mean, we need to push on that, because then you're going to get people employed. And employment means money. Money means power.
I totally agree.
oh, I'm really sorry. For some reason or other,
Oh, it says
the,
that host
un-
is
the
only able to
unmuting is
bring-
not working.
I think if you go up to participants and you just click on them.
Yeah, I've done that, and it says everybody's unmuted, but
Okay,
all
I'm unmuted
participants are
now.
unmuted, but
Okay,
it's
I'm
not
unmuted
working.
now. Hello?
Somebody's
Yeah,
unmuted.
yeah.
now.
Okay,
Yes,
TR.
yes.
Well, TR had something to say. Let's give her a chance first.
I think she's still
She
muted.
can't unmute herself for some reason.
Oh, Trina. Yeah, can you unmute her?
Everybody's unmuted. It says
No, they're not.
Well,
Susan, did you try opening the participants tab and then going
Yeah, that's how you have to do it.
TR and trying to unmute her?
yeah, I'm trying to do that. Not having any luck.
Because that should give her a pop-up on her end that says
If you want, make somebody else a co-host that can help you.
you can make
Okay, who wants?
Co-host.
Let's see. Who would like to do that?
Can you hear me? Make her a co-host.
Who's that?
I can do it if you want, Susan.
Okay, let's see.
Yeah,
I'm having a trackpad that is not
Where's Nick when we need him?
left. Yeah. Oh, my trackpad is not working. That's part of the problem. But the unmute definitely.
Maybe just make Victoria your co-host and then she can do it.
I am. Oh, let's see.
Because Nina and Trina are muted. And a couple other people. Simon, Bobbit.
Yeah. For some reason or other, my trackpad is not doing anything. I mean, it looks like it's doing something, but it doesn't actually do anything.
What about Peter? Can he do it?
I'm not a host. Let's see.
There.
I can't do it.
I'll call Nick and see if he can come back.
Can you make somebody a co-host? Peter?
Let's see. Well, maybe you should sing another song. Oh, Elaine, you're probably muted too.
no, I'm on now.
You could entertain us.
Well, I've asked TR if she can put her question in the chat.
It's a good idea.
Wait, what if she calls me? Maybe you can then hear her. Trina, do you want to call me? And then I'll put you on speakerphone. How's that?
Talking by telephone.
Yeah. Call me.
I can't unmute people.
Can't unmute them. Is unmute all an option?
I did that, and still people are muted.
Try to log back in.
Okay, thank you.
You might want to hit it again, Susan, because I think you unmuted all of us before. Is your name Katrina? Before she got back in.
Trina. Sorry. I couldn't see.
You can get your trackpad to hit unmute all again. Try that.
I'm trying that. Nick is coming back as the co-host. And he's my tech person. I can't hear you. Can you unmute everybody? Yeah, now I can. I can't get doing anything. I'm in participants and everything I'm clicking, nothing's happening. Nothing, no, it's options, but it's just not activating. No, I'm clicking, but nothing happens when I click. I mean, Command Shift A. Shift A. Is everybody unmuted? I think.
Katrina still isn't.
Nope.
No, they're not. No.
Hi, Trina. If you want my number again, it's 917.
So Trina put her question in the chat.
0225. Thanks, Kathy.
Do you want to take that one, Elaine? It's about, after 1990, going after the Medicaid issues.
Oh, yeah, well,
And I can talk about 2 and 3.
well, I wrote that song too, My Medicaid Matters.
Yep.
And I wrote Not Dead Yet, wrote that song too. I mean, it's like,
I
it's,
can't get it to do anything.
it's really, I think at this point in time,
All right.
it's like, well, anyway, ever since I was a child, I love to study history. So I like things that are historical, historical,
Thanks for crying.
and slightly hysterical.
Try to make.
And I think the story of the disability rights movement is
Okay.
definitely in that vein. Some of the footage, Peter, that you have is just so precious. I'm like anxious to see more of it. So yeah, it's
Yeah. So when the ADA passed in 1990, ADAPT turned their attention to institutionalization more explicitly. So transportation was sort of low-hanging fruit because it was easy to understand that you can't get up steps on a bus. So it was easy to figure that one out. It wasn't necessarily easy to accomplish, but everyone understood it. Then when you step into institutionalization and nursing homes, so the ADAPT changed their acronym, the meaning of the acronym, and I never get it right, but it's for they changed it to attendant services instead of accessible
attendant
public.
programs today.
Yeah, attendant programs today. And they started going after AHCA, the Association of American Healthcare Association, which is alive and kicking today, and one of the most powerful, nasty lobbying groups that's out there. And in fact, AHCA is responsible for a lot of the legislation that we're seeing, not legislation, but the governor's executive orders that are taking liability away from nursing homes that are killing people at about 50% of the deaths from COVID. About 20 governors have signed executive orders that exempt nursing homes from liability for those deaths. So that's the history. So ADAPT, since 1990, has been pushing for getting rid of institutional bias, and they've been pretty successful. I can't cite the figures exactly, but in 1990, the Medicaid disbursements to institutional care was something like 80% maybe to 20% community care. And they've gotten it down to almost 50-50 or something like that. So, do you know, Elaine, of the exact figures?
I don't memorize statistics like that well.
Yeah. But they did. They've been working on it, and they went up against Newt Gingrich. They had a bill called Mikasa that didn't get anywhere. They chased Newt around the country and burned his book about George Washington.
Yeah, I remember one time we went to where he lived in Washington, D.C. and demonstrated there. That was fun.
Yeah. And they came to Michigan, and that they occupied the governor's front lawn for a while. I don't know, Susan, if you were around for that.
Yeah, I was around for that.
Yeah, and
Matt Dyck was very involved with that. We actually left some corpses with some toe tags around.
Yeah, and that was an intersection with what's the broadcaster who came out? He was at a convention, ABC News or something, and he came out against ADAPT. Oh gosh, I'll think about that. But parts 2 and 3, you asked. Part 2 would be that period from 1990 to about 2010, probably. And we need to do a lot of work on collecting more archival footage, which is expensive. So we're skipping 2 in the sequence and going to part 3, which is all our footage, and which has Elaine in there, of course, and a lot of people who are still out there today. So we're hoping to get something out within the year from part 3. And that includes the Medicaid, when ADAPT occupied McConnell's office, when the Republicans threatened to defund, remember the skinny repeal and replace? And people weren't really focused too much on it, and then ADAPT went to the Hill and made a big fuss and got a lot of people arrested. So that put a lot of media attention on that. So that's our focus for 3, which we hope we can get out. There's some barriers still to finishing it, but we're working on it. Yeah. Anything else?
Can Trina say something?
Hi, yeah, it's Trina. I'm on the phone with you guys.
Can you hear her?
Yeah.
Hold on. Okay, can you hear her now?
No.
Go ahead.
Okay, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
So I was really just wondering what portion of ADAPT's work right now nationally is focused on Medicaid issues. I'm a little late to the ADAPT group. I kind of just started exploring it a couple of months ago, but I've been involved in lots of Medicaid advocacy in New York State. There's a lot of changes happening. I'm a little bit policy wonky, so I follow lots of Medicaid policy things, and I've been, I've dabbled in disability advocacy in New York State here and there, and I feel like there's a big disconnect between lots of disability organizations, and I really like to see it kind of coming together now, which I kind of get the impression that it is, especially with the New York State budget changes that are happening that have major implications for Medicaid recipients in New York State, specifically for our community. And I've been really deeply looking at community first choice options, actually the way it's been implemented or misimplemented in New York State. And right now I joined the Downstate ADAPT group, and we're looking and sifting through what community first choice actually is, how it's implemented in New York, how it's not, the kind of evolution of that, and we would love to know what the other ADAP groups are doing with this. Are they tracking it? And if there's anything that you can speak to at the moment about New York State's implementation of it or misimplementation of it. But yeah, we want to build some kind of resource group for our downstate chapter on building coalitions with and really grasping what this is about. So if any of you can speak to that, that would be really, really helpful. Thanks so much.
I'm not going to be very helpful with that. I'm not very well versed on the details, the minutia of the parts you're talking about, but some of the people you could talk to in ADAPT are probably Bob Kafka, if you run into him at any point, and Mike Oxford is really good at Community Choice First. Who else? Wonky, Susan would be good for that.
Could you put their names in the chat box?
Sure.
We'd appreciate
So Bob
that.
Kafka's in Texas ADAPT.
Okay. Yeah, could you just put like Bob Kafka, Texas?
Yeah, and then
Great, thank you.
Mike Oxford is in Kansas ADAPT. And I know they're both very well versed on the legislative issues, and they've always been kind of the wonky guys in ADAPT.
Well, Trina's like she's amazing here in New York. I know nothing. I'm just learning about this stuff, and she's like amazing. And Nina is amazing too, because Nina's been really working hard on getting out the word about these proposed regulations in New York. So they're two super special ladies. But thank you so much. We really appreciate that.
Sure.
And Marcia Katz is another one that is pretty knowledgeable.
Can you just put it on the chat box, and I'm going to copy and paste it and save it. Thanks so much.
Marcia Katz, she's in Minnesota.
Marcia Katz? No, she's in Wyoming.
Oh, she's in Wyoming.
Montana.
Oh, right, Montana. I knew it was an M state.
One of them M's.
I'm not sure Minnesota people would like you to confuse Montana with that.
Also, outside of ADAPT, I think maybe like Marcy Roth from World Institute on Disability might know some stuff about Medicaid. Trying to think. Yeah. Are you working with your legislators closely, or are they not? Are you not in communication yet? No.
Well, that's one of the things. The problem is I believe in the budget they put all these things, and now they're implementing it through the regulations. I'm very new to the game, so I'm not anywhere an expert. I mean, that's why I wish we could unmute Trina and Nina, because they're the two people that know this stuff backwards and forwards. I'm the new student on the block learning, so yeah. But they have these proposed regulations, and Trina's been going through them, and she's been looking at them and looking at this first choice and the legislation with that on the federal level, and she's seeing things that don't make sense in that. So
yeah,
it's quite interesting. So
and Nickel might have some information we could tap into. The
Nickel stands for
National Centers on Independent Living.
Okay.
I think that's right. And NCIL. Yeah.
Okay, because that was the interesting thing when she was going to the local independent living groups. They seemed to know stuff, but they seemed to be like, I don't know, she said like she felt like they were kind of shying away from it. And that's what I thought was interesting about the movie, because it pointed out how the independent living groups have their, you know, they do get their grants and their money from the politicians, so they may not be as easily able to, you know, do this as maybe us.
Centers for Independent Living are all independent from each other. So you can have one center for independent living that is extraordinarily progressive and aggressive and will work very hard for you. And there have others that, you know, they get some money from the government and they keep their offices open and not much else. So
That's good to know. See, I didn't know that.
yeah, there are some really, really, really good CILs. Access for Living in Chicago is one that's exceptional. Ann Arbor Center for Independent Living in Michigan is also exceptional. There's one in Berkeley that's exceptional. There's lots of them that are really very good.
Do you have a list of the ones that are exceptional or something so that we know who to?
No.
That's what we need to have a list for the newbies.
No, because you know, because the other thing is the CIL can be really great for a couple of years because it's got a good person in charge and good, you know,
right.
And there's supposed to be a board that's 50% people with disabilities. And so they can be really, really great. And then they get a change in staffing, a change on the board, and then it can go from being wonderful. So, you know, what I tell you is wonderful today may not be wonderful tomorrow. But my experience with Chicago Access for Living and Ann Arbor CIL, they've been consistently good for a very long time. And both of them you could contact and say, you know, this is where I'm at and what I need. And they would not say, yeah, we can help you, but they would give you referrals.
Yeah. Okay.
Would you please repeat the names? It would be good to have somebody who knows the standards of what should be done if you were trying to do something locally. What are the names of those that are the two that you just said that are good that you could call and find out information from?
Access for Living in Chicago.
Okay.
That's one that I would highly recommend. It's a very large CIL. It's a very well-funded CIL. So they have lots of things going for it. The Ann Arbor Center for Independent Living, I don't think it's quite as well funded as the one in Chicago, but it still is extremely good. I don't know the actual name of the one that is in Berkeley, but there's the Paul Longmore Institute. And I don't think it's an actual CIL. I think it's I'm not sure what its actual status is.
Well, isn't the one in Berkeley just called the Center for Independent Living? I mean, that's the first one that was created.
No, that's not right. The Ann Arbor one is the first one ever.
Oh, Ann Arbor. Okay.
Yeah, the others came soon after, but Ann Arbor was actually the very first one.
Oh. So I put Amber Smock's email in the chat. She's a policy wonk at Access Living. I finally got her email right, so don't use the first two. That
okay. Thank you.
And I can give you Bob Kafka and let's see. Bob Kafka email. There's Bob's email. Mike Oxford.
I should have Bob's.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, so I put the emails of both Bob and Mike on the chat.
Okay, thank you.
How many members are in your chapter at this point?
That's a good question. I don't know off the top of my head. And I don't see a fearless leader right now on the call. she's had trouble this week with her, I know, with her internet and all that stuff with the big storm we had in New York that wasn't a hurricane but did just as much damage out in Long Island. So, but I know we're very, we're a pretty active group, especially now with the pandemic. We're all Zooming each other and keeping in touch and doing a lot of, good activist work. So,
Good.
I
Did you
think,
get a training from somebody recently on adapt tactics or?
oh, well, this is what we're going to, okay, because recently we're changing over from Long Island Adapt to downstate New York Adapt. And we just got approval from the national organization like about last Wednesday or so. So we're going to be launching that. And then after that, we're probably going to get some training, I believe. That's how it's going to work. So we're looking forward to that.
Well, welcome to the fold.
Thank you. We really appreciate it. Also, I'm a member of on the board of Disabled in Action of Metropolitan New York. So we're trying, we're going to be working with them and with Downstate and, getting all the groups working together and we've been working with the independent living centers, trying to, do different seminars on voting and on the proposed regulations and all these different things. We're reaching out to them to, try to increase our contacts and increase reach to people. So exciting times.
Well, you mentioned Disable in Action. You could probably reach Judy Human too if you wanted. So she's definitely got her finger on the pulse of legislation.
Right. We should, yeah. I know somebody that knows her. That was one of the people, in DIA that was involved with when they were passing the ADA and all that. So, yeah. So.
Well, Kathy, and those of you who are the new ADAPT chapter down there.
Nina, Trina.
Please.
What do you call Michael? Is Michael still on the call? I don't know. He may have had to leave. Oh, he is? Great. So, yeah.
Well,
all three of them I see right here.
See, I'm just in New Haven, Connecticut.
Oh, okay, great.
Haven, actually, but I take the train from New Haven. And I aspire to do a concert whenever it's possible at Sellis Manor or wherever it's possible, because I know Disabled in Action, like myself, really misses Paula Wolf. Anyway, she was a very close friend of mine. And I was there last year at the Disability Pride parade and got to sing on Broadway. Yay.
Oh, wow, that's fantastic.
So that was fun. I was up on the stage up there. That was great fun. So anyway, so keep me in mind.
Okay, yeah, definitely, because we're thinking trying to have a Zoom meeting of hopefully DIA maybe in September. Right now, we've just been meeting the board, trying to just get our bearings at the moment. So we're hoping to do that. Michael's also on Disabled in Action board, and we have, I don't know if he's still here, Robert Acevita. He was here a while back, and he's also a board member of DIA. So they were both, yeah. So we have a lot of interconnection, and we all try to work together. But that's great. Yeah, we're definitely. Are you? Is your email address on DIA's membership list, so we can reach out to you when we're gonna hopefully have that meeting in?
Well, it used to be, but I've put it now several times in the chat.
Okay, great.
The best.
Thanks.
I have several addresses, but the best one is just my name.
Okay, great.
Elaine.Kolb.
Okay.
At Comcast.net. Pretty basic.
Great. All right. Super.
Well, we've been on here for 2 hours, and people are certainly welcome to continue the conversation. I'm not going to stop you, but I understand if anybody needs to take off.
Yeah, I do, but
nice meeting you
I
all.
appreciate it. Yeah, nice meeting you, Michael. And I need to take off too. So is there
Yeah.
any last question? Thanks, Susan.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you so much for
Good to-
letting us show your film.
Yes, it's fantastic.
Good to see you, Elaine. Talk to you
Always
soon.
good. Yes, I love you. Hang in
Love
there.
you.
Give my
You
best
too.
to everyone.
So we should just reach out to
Okay.
Peter if we want to get a set up a time to show his movie. Like maybe if we do something with Downstate Adapt and with DIA and all that at some point, maybe in October or November.
Yeah, I put my email in the
Okay.
chat too. So,
Okay, let me get the.
all right. Take
Well,
care.
don't go yet. Let me just put this. I gotta copy it.
Oh, well, I think it'll
Yeah.
be there.
No, that's what I was worried about. The chat. People closing, they leave the meeting, then I can't copy. I'm like, oh no. 1 second, everybody.
Okay.
Let me talk about that.
See you guys.
Make sure I got it. Okay, I do. Thank you for your patience. And thank you, Victoria, for trying to help us out here.
You're welcome.
Oh.
I think I need to go
What-
to
who
the
are you
Apple
with?
Store.
Who's Victoria? Who are you associated with? Are you with one of the Long Island Adapt? I mean, one of the Adapts?
No, I'm not. I work at a progressive studio in Michigan for adults with disabilities that Teddy, Susan's son,
Oh
is.
wow.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to learn more and, figure out better ways to be an ally, and yeah, really just here to listen.
You got a progressive TV station?
It's a progressive studio, so it's an art studio.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so we do painting, we do sculpture. We pretty much just help people figure out what their interests are and then figure out ways for them to be independent and, follow those interests and make whatever kind of work they want. And we're, as staff, we're kind of there to just like be artist assistants and
Right.
bring our knowledge of art to whatever projects that we're.
Right. Would you like to put your information in the chat so we can keep in touch with you too?
Absolutely.
Anybody else wants to put it in? Because we'd love to keep in touch with everybody, Knowledge is power. And contacts to learn things.
Well, that's exactly what
Spread the word.
all these events are about. I mean, that's the whole reason that
Yeah, we appreciate
having
it.
them is because the more people know, the more people share, the better for us all.
Yeah, and Victoria, can you just put like what organization you're with so that I'll remember that later? Because like she says, I'm a senior person and I get those senior moments constantly. Thanks. We appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
I can give you all mine too.
Yeah, it would be great.
I like to say my forgetter is getting better and better because my rememberer is broke.
I love that.
And the parts are on back order from Sears. And they're closing Sears down, and what were we talking about? Anyway, life is confusing.
Yeah, it is.
Amazing.
Okay, hold on a second. Okay.
And everything keeps changing. As soon as you think you got it all, something else changes.
Exactly.
That's another one. That's another one of my sayings. I finally got it all together, forgot where I put it.
I believe it.
Well, I'm going to sign off. It was lovely meeting all of you.
Me too.